Shortly after the release of an audio recording this past Saturday morning of a conversation that allegedly included...
Okay, let's not waste any time. That alleged audio recording is the smoking gun at the center of a firestorm that threatens to burn down the entire WNBA. And it's the catalyst for what sources say is a massive behind-the-scenes power play. The core of the rumor is that NBA Commissioner Adam Silver is now being forced to step in and clean house, starting at the very top with WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. For weeks, the whispers have been growing louder, the sense that the E2 game is being manipulated, that Caitlin Clark is being systematically targeted, and that the league office is complicit in its silence. But now, the whispers are becoming a roar. This video is for the narrative analysts. We're going to connect the dots between the on-court chaos, Engelbert's baffling inaction, and the mounting pressure on Adam Silver to make a decision that could save or shatter the future of the league. If you, like us, believe that where there's this much smoke, there's a fire, do us a favor and hit the like button. It helps us know we're on the right track. Now, many of you watching have been tracking this on social media and forums for weeks, and you've seen the pattern. This isn't just about one or two bad calls. It feels orchestrated. It's a pattern of targeted aggression and suspicious officiating that always seems to disadvantage one player in particular, Caitlin Clark. This started from the very beginning of her rookie season, but it has now escalated into something impossible to ignore. We're talking hard fouls, flagrant calls being missed, and a general sense that she's being officiated by a different, harsher rulebook than everyone else on the floor. It feels personal. And the moments that support this theory are piling up so fast, it's getting hard to keep track. But none stand out quite like the final 2 seconds of that Fever versus Liberty game. The Fever had the ball, a chance to win it at the buzzer. A magic moment in the making. The ball goes to Clark. She prepares for the shot, and then this happens.
Screening action down low. Clark has to get open. 1 second left. Clark doesn't get the shot off. Cloud locks her up. And New York comes into Indianapolis and takes the checkered flag.
No foul was called. Despite the obvious contact, despite the complaints from Clark and the entire Fever bench, the refs swallowed their whistles. The Liberty walked away with a 90-88 win, and the fans were left wondering if the outcome was decided before that final play even happened. When you see a moment that blatant in a high-stakes game, it's no longer about simple human error. It starts to feel like a message is being sent, and that message is being sent over and over again. This wasn't a one-off incident. It's a highlight reel of negligence. Look at the playoff game against the Connecticut Sun. Clark pulls up for a deep three, and Tawana Bonner runs right into her, throwing her completely off balance. The expectation from everyone watching was an immediate whistle. Instead, they got this.
It's a rebound against Indiana, something Connecticut did very well in the first quarter of game one. Is Clark 3 to shoot. Gonna have to hoist from the logo. An air ball. And Clark wanted a foul. Felt like Bonner ran into her. But a shot clock violation.
A shot clock violation. No foul. It was the same story against the Seattle Storm, where Clark endured constant, bruising physical play that the officials seemed determined to ignore. We saw Storm forward AZ Magbagor knock Clark off balance with a clear body check on a screen. Again, nothing. Then there was the now infamous shove from the Chicago Sky's Marina Mabre. It was so blatant, so over the top, that the officials were eventually forced to upgrade it to a flagrant 2 foul after a review. But their initial reaction on the court? Confusion and hesitation. The same story against the Seattle Storm, where Clark endured constant, bruising physical play that the officials seemed determined to ignore. We saw Storm forward AZ Magbagor knock Clark off balance with a clear body check on a screen. Again, nothing. Then there was the now infamous shove from the Chicago Sky's Marina Mabre. It was so blatant, so over the top, that the officials were eventually forced to upgrade it to a flagrant 2 foul after a review. But their initial reaction on the court? Confusion and hesitation.
Hustling away.
I mean, is that displacement? I think it is.
Oh, and Marina Mabry's going to get ejected. If the officials saw that, Marina Mabry is going to get ejected.
Well, they're going to go and look at it.
When the officials on the floor seem confused about whether a player getting shoved to the ground is a foul, you don't have an officiating problem. You have a credibility crisis. So the evidence on the court is overwhelming. But for us, the narrative analysts, the real story isn't just what's happening on the hardwood. It's what's not happening in the commissioner's office. This is where the story takes a darker turn, and we have to start asking some uncomfortable questions about Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. Okay, now we're getting into the territory of widespread online speculation, but it's the core of this entire controversy. Viral videos and social media posts are alleging that Engelbert is at the center of this storm. The claims suggest a secret roster of refs on a hidden payroll, receiving consulting bonuses and off-book travel stipends after controversial games. The theory is that there's a hidden agenda to give certain players the royal treatment, while others, like Clark, are left to fend for themselves. And the most damning piece of evidence against Engelbert? Her profound and deafening silence. As her league faces its biggest integrity crisis in modern history, the person in charge has been completely missing in action. No press conferences, no statements, no defense of her referees or her league. Nothing. That silence is even more damning when you contrast it with the people who are putting their careers and their wallets on the line to speak truth to power. While the commissioner hides, coaches are being pushed to their breaking point. Indiana Fever's head coach, Stephanie White, has been openly critical of the officiating, and she finally unloaded on the league in a post-game interview that sent shockwaves through the fan base.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable.
A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. That's not a statistic. That's an indictment. And keep in mind, the Coach White has already been fined by the league earlier this season for criticizing the officiating. She knows there are consequences for speaking out, and she's doing it anyway. That's how you know the situation has become untenable. So, when you have players being targeted, coaches sounding the alarm, and a commissioner who is nowhere to be found, it's easy to think this is a new crisis. But for the true narrative analysts, the ones who study history to understand the present, this entire situation has a chilling precedent. To really understand how deep this could go, we need to turn the clock back to 2007 and talk about the biggest scandal in the history of American sports officiating, the case of NBA referee Tim Donaghy. For those who don't know, Donaghy was a veteran NBA ref who was caught betting on games he was officiating. But he wasn't just betting. He was using his insider access, his knowledge of which crews were officiating which games, the private relationships between refs and players, and his own ability to make game-altering calls, to feed winning picks to professional gamblers. The FBI stumbled onto the scheme while monitoring mob phone calls, and what they uncovered was staggering. According to reports, Donaghy's betting predictions had a jaw-dropping 88% win rate on the games he officiated himself. He was eventually caught and sentenced to 15 months in federal prison. A referee with the power to influence outcomes, using that power for financial gain, with potential ties to outside betting syndicates. Does any of that sound familiar? These three parallels between the Donaghy playbook and the allegations swirling around the WNBA right now are impossible to ignore. Do you think history is repeating itself here? Let us know your theory in the comments below. The Donaghy scandal rocked the NBA to its core, and it created a playbook for how a league can be compromised from the inside, and with a clear historical precedent for corruption and a current leadership team that has gone completely silent. The stage is set for an intervention. In this story, all eyes are now turning to one man, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver. Now, to understand why Silver's involvement is the key to this whole situation, you have to understand he isn't some distant executive. Adam Silver has been deeply involved with the WNBA since day one. He was part of the original team that drew up the league's business plan back in 1996. He has a foundational vested interest in its success. This isn't just another league under his portfolio. It's part of his legacy, and that legacy has been a source of frustration for him. The research shows that back in 2015, after another leadership change, Silver stated the WNBA needed a reset. He even publicly expressed his disappointment that by its 19th season, the league still hadn't truly broken through into the mainstream consciousness. Now, fast forward to today. The breakthrough that Silver has been waiting decades for has finally arrived, and her name is Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect is not a myth. It's a verifiable statistical tidal wave. We're talking about viewership numbers that dwarf the rest of the league. The source transcript and our research confirm it. A recent game between the powerhouse Las Vegas Aces and the Connecticut Sun drew a paltry 100,000 viewers. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark's lowest viewership this season was 580,000. She is, without exaggeration, single-handedly lifting the entire league to unprecedented heights. And this is the piece of the puzzle that changes everything. The referee scandal and Engelbert's alleged mismanagement aren't just an internal problem anymore. They are a direct threat to the single most valuable asset the WNBA has ever had. Why would Adam Silver stand by and watch the Golden Goose get cooked by a conspiracy of incompetence or corruption? He wouldn't. The stakes are finally high enough for the real commissioner to step in. And that brings us to the core claim of our report tonight, the information that is exploding across social media and insider forums. Okay, we are now entering the realm of widespread social speculation, but it's the conversation that everyone is having, and it directly addresses the power vacuum in the league. Reports and multiple YouTube sources claim that Adam Silver has seen enough. The claims suggest he has privately erupted over the handling of this crisis and is now moving behind the scenes to force Cathy Engelbert out. With these social media allegations that Silver has demanded Engelbert's resignation, that he's cooperating with an alleged FBI investigation into the WNBA's secret referee payments, and that he is preparing to install new leadership to salvage the league's reputation. This is no longer just about protecting a star player. It's about protecting the entire enterprise. The original transcript said it best. Sponsors don't like uncertainty, and they definitely don't want to be associated with a league whose leadership is facing allegations serious enough to trigger a federal investigation. That's the kind of threat that forces a swift and decisive response from the highest level of power. The pattern of questionable calls against Caitlin Clark was the initial symptom. The deafening silence from Commissioner Engelbert showed a catastrophic failure in leadership. That failure created a crisis of confidence that now threatens to scare off the very sponsors the league needs to capitalize on its newfound popularity. This perfect storm has, according to the widespread rumors, left Adam Silver with no other choice. To save the league he helped build, he must first tear down its current leadership and clean house. So, what's your take on all this? Do you believe Adam Silver is right to intervene, or should the WNBA be left to handle its own crisis? Let us know your definitive take in the comments section below. We are tracking every single development in this story, and you can be sure the story doesn't end here. To make sure you get every update, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. And finally, if you feel that other WNBA fans, the ones who just watch the games and don't see the story behind the story, need to understand what's really happening, please share this video with them.